guys, this is just a very quick video to show you how to make a Genoise sponge, the one that you use to make a nice Swiss roll, and I'm going to give you some great tips and tricks on how to roll a perfect Swiss roll straight after. For a really fluffy Genoise sponge, you really only need lots of air. So actually, we're going to insert our butterfly whisk attachment, and we're going to make sure it's nicely locked into position. And we're going to go for some eggs. And most of the fluffy air will actually come from the eggs, so we barely even need any baking powder. And I'm going to add in some sugar. And I'm actually going to whisk this for a good 6 minutes at a temperature, and then I'm going to whisk it again without temperature so that it becomes really nice and stable and perfectly frothy. That makes a perfect Genoise sponge. The eggs are now super duper fluffy, and you can see, because they're super white, this is exactly what will give us all of this lovely air in our Genoise sponge. Now, all we do is add in our flour to the left and the right of the butterfly, very carefully and very quickly. And then we're adding in just a little bit of baking powder, not a lot. And then we're going to mix this just for a few seconds, and then it's ready to go into the tin. Let's remove our butterfly. Just going to wiggle it back and forth a little bit to get all of that goody stuff off. And then this is what it looks like. Really nice, really stable. And you just pour that onto a tray. You've lined with some greaseproof paper and spread it out nice and evenly without touching it too much. You don't want to knock out any of the air unnecessarily, because you really want to make sure this is really nice and airy. Perfect sponge. Now that it's perfectly distributed over our baking tray, we're going to bake it for a good 15 to 20 minutes. It depends how hot your oven is, but you want to see a nice spring when you touch it, but it coming back straight away. That's when it's perfectly done. The Genoise sponge has now baked fully, and I'm going to take it out of the oven. And here is a great tip on how to make sure that your Genoise sponge can be rolled up straight away and doesn't crack. What we do is we place it on here, put a towel, slightly damp towel if possible, on top, like so, and you have a tray here. Literally do this straight after baking. Turn it upside down, it's like an athletic movement. Pop it on here, on your counter, remove the tray, and then you take off your baking paper, very carefully, because it is a Genoise sponge and it does tend to stick a tiny bit, so be very careful when you do that so you don't lose any cake. And now what you do is you take your tea towel, fold it in slightly, and start rolling up your sponge straight away onto the tea towel. Be careful, it will be slightly warm still, and then you place it back on here. And now what you can do is you can just leave it to cool down, whatever you want to do. But it's now pre-shaped, and now you can make your fillings and just leave it wherever you like until you're ready. This avoids the cracks and makes the perfect Swiss roll. For more videos and more amazing tips and tricks like that, go visit my blog or visit my YouTube channel and subscribe. I've got an epic recipe of Lamination Swiss rolls that you can find via the link below as well. Thanks guys!